Ready, hunt!
Real pleased another signing days here and finished up. We feel like we've improved ourselves with some of the offensive players that we were able to bring in, from the up front with the offensive linemen to a very talented running back to a quarterback we think has the leadership qualities to help our program. We were also able to bring in some more receivers into our program. We're going to lose some kids this coming year, and we felt it was important to also replenish those kids. Overall, just as a blanket statement, I think this group of kids has a strong work ethic. They come from programs that have won, and I think their character is one that we will be very proud of here at Oklahoma. I just see that through every position group, especially on our side of the ball, that this is a strong character class. So with that, I don't know where you guys want to talk about specifically, but
questions. Yeah, Jay, when recruits would ask you during the last month or two what the offense is going to look like, what would you tell them?
Well, I think this offense, since Coach Stoops has been here, has been built around a strong running game and a dynamic passing attack, and I don't see that changing. What it looks like might change a little bit. We kind of try to look at the talent we have. This time of year, and we're getting ready to go into it this next month, we kind of evaluate ourselves, our strengths and weaknesses, the strengths and weaknesses of our players. We spent the last couple of days, Hype and I and the offensive coaches, just watching our kids in the weight room running and lifting, and finding out who our leaders are, what their athletic ability is, what kind of things can we do with this group. And so what we do offensively has always been try to reflect the talent that we have. So I think that will be a work in progress. I think we'll go in with some ideas here the next month. I think we'll go visit some people. I think we'll talk to some different coaches around the country and add some schemes that may reflect the talent that we have on a campus. But I don't see the overall style changing much. We may do some things that reflect our quarterback strengths. And we'll see how that works as we work through spring practice. But and I think we want to take advantage of the perimeter skill players, whether it's running backs or wide receivers or tight ends. That will not change. So those are the things we talked about, and we lean on our past a lot. I mean, we've been very productive under Coach Stoops. We've had tremendously talented quarterbacks that have won a lot of awards and broken a lot of records, and so we can easily tell recruits that we will repeat that. And we kind of stand on those things, and that helps us in recruiting. To be able to look at the lineage of quarterbacks here and the fine skill that Coach Stoops has been able to surround those guys with is a real strength for us in recruiting, and we sell it hard.
Who are you going to visit?
We try not to broadcast that, but we'll see. We'll see as we go. I mean, one of the neat things about being at Oklahoma is that you get the chance to visit with some of the very finest coaches in football, and Coach Stoops has built a lot of relationships that way, and that's one of the neat things. Pro football, nobody ever talks to each other because they all play each other all the time, but we have the luxury of being in different conferences in different parts of the country, so we'll do our due diligence.
We asked about the cloak and dagger nature of bringing Dannon in here late. Nobody knew he was here, and then all of a sudden he tweets out a picture of him in your offices signing something.
Now, the recruiting is there's a lot of things that happen in recruiting anymore. Dannon Cavill is a fabulous kid. He's a kid I really liked as a junior, and he hurt his hamstring and he didn't play as a junior. So he didn't have any film. And we have the ability to get on kids so early that a kid like him can kind of get lost in the shuffle. And we really revisited Danica-Ville. As you know, I talked to Kenny Stills all the time, and I had a pretty good feeling Kenny was wanting to come out midway through the season. And so, you know, anymore in recruiting, you have to be proactive. You can't wait. You got to, if you feel like there's going to be an opening, you need to really move on it. And the recruiting season has a lot of parts to it. You know, you start off this time of year, you're looking at a lot of kids from all over the country. You go through spring practice and junior days. You go through summer training camp where you get kids on campus, which is another opportunity. You go through the fall. But there's a time period over the Christmas holidays, which is another opportunity to get on kids what maybe you weren't on as hard. And we had a feeling that we were going to lose a couple of kids to sign early as juniors to go into the NFL. And that opened a window to really get a guy like Danica-Ville in here. You know, Bobby Jack Wright recruits down in San Antonio and ran into Danica-Ville, and we sparked up conversation with him, and we just really pushed hard on it over break. And we were able to get him up here. You know, he was committed to Ole Miss, and then he committed to Sonny Dykes. Cal got on him. But we were able to convince him that he had a great opportunity here, and so we're really excited about it. I mean, the kid had a cousin that played here. He had a cousin that played at Texas. His dad was a Longhorn, you know. So it was, and he had to drive past Austin to get to us, and they offered him late. So we had about 3 of our skilled players. They came after hard at the end, and you know, we were able to weather the storm. So so there's some anxious moments knowing he had to drive through Austin to get to us, but that was good. You know, he's a very good kid. He's a military kid. It takes you 5 minutes to visit with him to realize that there's something special about him.
You enjoy that when all that's going on? You're worried about him driving through Austin. You're worried about what Mike and Tim being so close to Sonny.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. It's fun. Recruiting. It's like putting a big puzzle together. You know, you kind of have to keep working to get all the pieces to really find out where it's at. But it's never boring, and I've come to enjoy it. You know, and if you look at it that way, you can kind of get through those types of situations.
Dan, and from talking to him, it seems like OU was kind of the offer he was really waiting for. So when you know that a kid wants OU that bad, are those calls really fun to make?
They're fun, and we knew that he had a real strong feeling about Oklahoma. But at the same time, you know, we also knew that he had plans on leaving, going west, and sometimes that's hard to overcome. And the timing of it all sometimes is hard to overcome. But, you know, the big thing is we try to show a kid how he fits into your program, all the great things that he can experience while he's on your campus. And it's really a two-way street. You know, he's going to help this program while he's here, and we feel like we have the tools to really help him reach all his goals. And so it always helps when a kid really grows up seeing himself as a Sooner. You know, and that's why the local recruiting is so important, the in-state recruiting, you know, Texas recruiting. We're always better when there's a lot of talented players closer to home. You know, those years are always better for us than when we have to go a long distance to find the really talented players. So, and those kids always seem to have a real strong connection to what we're about here. So, you know, that's, you know, the Smallwood kids, he's a great example of that. I mean, he will live and die for Oklahoma, and that's exciting, you know, to have that kind of kid. Danica-Ville's the same way. So, no, he did have strong feelings for us, and I'm glad it worked out the way it did. And it's pretty neat that he's a mid-year kid and he's here, he's already working, he's already changed. It's amazing how much those high school kids change this time of year when they're in your program, and he looks like a different kid physically already. He's only been here a couple weeks. So having the spring practice under his belt will be very helpful for him.
You view all these receiver signees as guys who can contribute immediately?
You know, we've tried to always bring kids that can come in and play, and so we look at it that way until they prove they can't play or it's not a good thing for them to play. We'll try to push the envelope to get them ready to play. And you know, if it comes to where he won't really be able to contribute a whole lot, then we'll save his year. But you know, he immediately adds competition when he walks in the room. He's almost 6'5", he's 205 pounds, he's a big, strong kid that can run, and he immediately adds competition, which is important because we need that at every position to really be good.
You mentioned that when the talent is strong nearby, it's good for you guys. Just generally speaking, it seems like the 2014 class in the state of Oklahoma has a chance to be one of the better ones. Is that the way you guys see it?
No question, and you know, and I think it's just exciting just doing the preliminary work, you know, the last few months on the juniors coming up. We really can't talk about it, but it appears that there's going to be a good crop of kids both in the state and in Texas. So that's exciting for us because you know, we've already got a very good start on a lot of those kids, and so, you know, recruiting's starting earlier and earlier anymore, and while you're recruiting this class, we're constantly working on the next one and stopping by in schools and watching basketball games and dropping by at athletic periods, and so that's constantly going on as we're trying to sign this class, and you know, the other part of that is that when you have kids that have connections with these next kids coming up, that's incredibly helpful in recruiting. And so I think we're going to see some really positive connections in the future with some of the kids that we have now.
Mike was pretty clear he's really attached to Stan Von Taylor, but you know, last summer he started blowing up nationally as a wide receiver. Was there a time when you guys discussed, you know, maybe we see what happens when he gets here, or did you kind of bang the table and say?
No, I think our very best players could play either side of the ball, and I mean, I've made a conscious effort on the receivers, really trying to find guys that could play both sides of the ball, and because you never know. I mean, if a kid can do a lot of things, there's no question he's going to help your program somehow, somewhere, whether it's special teams, as a return man, on offense or defense. I mean, Ryan Broyles could have been a great corner. You know, DeMarco Murray could have been a great secondary player. I mean, if a kid is very talented, he could probably help you on either side of the ball. So Stan Von's no exception to that. We've got a number of receivers right now that could easily play on either side of the ball, and so I just think it helps your program when you bring in guys that are versatile, and you know, we try not to bring guys that are pigeonholed for only one spot. If you can return, if you're a punt returner, a kick returner, a guy that can run out of the backfield or run a jet sweep, or possibly play defense, I mean, you're going to get on the field somehow and help the team. And so as many guys as we can get like that, the better.
Jay, what really stood out about KJ Young?
Those very things I just mentioned. You know, it doesn't really matter when you find a guy or when he comes up in the recruiting process. When you see the film doesn't lie. I mean, he's a very versatile guy. He's got great hands, great body control, has the ability to run in space, and sometimes height is misleading if a guy has a long frame and long arms and big hands. I had Marvin Harrison, and Marvin was 6 foot, but he had long arms, and he was a great point guard in Philadelphia. He had huge hands, and when you see those types of qualities, it really stands out, and that's what KJ has. Tim Kish has recruited the Inland Empire out there outside of Los Angeles for a long time, and that's where KJ's from, and he brought, you know, the tape back on KJ, and there's no doubt that he would fit in perfect in our offense, just being in space, hitting them in the middle of the field, being able to work linebackers and inside people, a lot like what we're seeing Jalen Saunders do. But KJ has all those qualities. He's a return man. He plays defense. He could play corner. He could play wide receiver. He could return kicks. He just does a lot of things very well. And it's just hard to deny a kid like that from coming in your program. He can help you in so many different ways. So he's got a lot of those qualities, very versatile. He's so excited to be at Oklahoma, and we're lucky to have him.
Jay, do you feel like you've always been a really good recruiter? Do you feel like you've kind of started to fall into a rhythm of how to do it?
I think I've always worked very hard at it. There's no question that being at Oklahoma gives you certain advantages in the recruiting process. I mean, I recruited my tail off when I was at Wisconsin and Iowa State. This ain't Iowa State. I mean, we just have an ability to get in on players. We have ability to. We have a great offensive product to sell here to skilled players, and we try to use that history to sell players on coming here. I mean, when Adrian Peterson is MVP of the league and doing what he's doing in the National Football League, and Sam Bradford and Ryan Broyles and all the great DeMarco Murray, those guys are great examples for what kids want to be. And I think Coach Stoops he's always given skilled players an opportunity to show their skills offensively, and that's what kids want. I mean, kids want to get their hands on the ball. They want to be in a wide open attack. The things that we've done in this no huddle offense has given us a lot of ammunition to sell to players. I mean, the number of plays that we run gives our skilled players more opportunity to touch the football. What Landry Jones and Ryan Broyles have done in our program is almost unprecedented when you look at their statistics. And a lot of that is because we've gone no huddle, because we've gone up tempo, because we've given those guys a lot of opportunities to touch the ball and throw the ball. So, those are things where skilled kids see that they're going to get their opportunity to get their hands on the ball and play for championships, and that's what Coach Stoops has been able to do here.
You mentioned that you try not to recruit kids that you couldn't see being versatile. Do you talk to them about that, about the possibility of, hey, you might have a chance to play either side?
Well, not necessarily either side, but being able to do a lot of different things, whether it's running the ball out of the backfield or running on a jet sweep or and I say this, a kid that shows an ability to play defense, it makes him a better offensive player because he understands defense. He understands how offenses try to attack him. He's a smarter player. And a lot of times they're tougher players too. The guys that really can excel defensively and then be a good offensive skill player, they have a lot tougher mindset, which we're looking for on offense too. I mean, we need physical, tough players that don't shy away from contact. So I like it. I like it when I see a guy playing defense, and I love watching kids play basketball. I mean, when I got a recruit that plays basketball, I love to watch them play because you can see so many of their athletic skills come out on a basketball court. I spent the last couple Friday nights, just watching guys play basketball, and you can really find out a lot about their athletic ability in a hurry on the basketball court and ball skills. So,
Who's the best basketball player
that we've recruited? Boy, we've got some pretty good ones. Trey Matoire was really good. He didn't have much of an arc on his shot, but boy, could he run and play defense and tomahawk dunk. He could do about whatever he wants. So, I mean, it's, Coach Stoops talks about, DeMarco, what a great basketball player DeMarco Murray was. And, Sam Bradford was a hell of a basketball player. I mean, those guys are all talented guys. And you see the ball skills too, on the basketball court. But we've had some pretty good ones, and Trey was really good. He was really good.
Are you looking forward to this quarterback competition coming up?
I think one of the neat things about our football team right now, especially on the offensive side, is that, when you have a quarterback that's been here for so long, everybody kind of looks at it. It's a staple. It's everybody kind of looks to that, and everybody falls in line. But I think right now we've got a lot of competition at every position, and we got good talent, and our chemistry is just different. And I think the competition at the quarterback position is really going to energize our offense, and we're going to see a lot of people rally. And obviously that's what you want. The cream rises to the top when people rally. And I think it's going to make every one of our positions more competitive and better. I mean, I talk to those wide receivers all the time. I mean, this is a critical time of year because these kids are working out. They're in the weight room. They're running. They're lifting. They're throwing the ball to one another, and whoever our quarterback is, he's gaining confidence with somebody. Okay, so who's that going to be? And so it puts a lot of pressure on the receivers to be that guy, to be a guy that's accountable, to be the guy that runs his routes hard all the time, to be a guy that will be the playmaker. So when that quarterback gets in trouble, he's looking for you. And that type of trust and dependability is really what makes special receivers. But that combination of the quarterback and the receiver getting that chemistry, that's what's going on right now in this time of year and as we go through the spring and through the summer. So it's a really important time for our football team because that's when the chemistry is starting to build. And I think that competition is going to energize everybody on offense.
You talked about observing leadership qualities in the guys earlier. Because he's been here longer and maybe been more involved, does Blake just naturally maybe have a little more pull in that regard than the others?
I don't know. I think it's definitely an advantage to have played, and there's a confidence level that comes from playing. But at the same time, those younger guys showed a lot of leadership on the scout team. They showed a lot of confidence on the scout team. They showed a lot of talent and ability on the scout team, and versus a very good defense. So I don't know that will be the difference. We'll see. I mean, but at the same time, I think we've got some talented young guys that are anxious to show what they can do, and I think that will give us a different energy on offense. I think it. And I'm really looking forward to it. I really am. I think it's going to be fun for everybody, and everybody's going to have to step their game up because we're building a different identity and with some different leadership. So it'll be fun to watch.
Is this class cigar Twitter pick worthy?
I can't comment on that.